Hello, fellow preppers. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. I did a video about medium to long term plans, and some of you guys watched it and made a few comments. But I don't think it sunk in with some people. See, the question you have to ask is, then what? Stuff hits the fan, you grab your bag, you get out of Dodge, you're gone. The question is, then what? What are you going to do? You only can carry so much water when you run out. Then what? What's your backup plan for water? Okay, maybe you've got a filter, a straw. Okay, so you've got that covered. What about staying warm? You might have a tarp and a space blanket. Maybe you've got your sweater, a blanket, jacket. But what if it gets real cold? Then what? Or take it to the other extreme, it gets real hot. Now you use your tarp or your space blanket for a shade, but if you're out of water, you get hot, you can't cool down, then what? What's your plan? You know, things run out, so when your supplies run out, then what? These are all things you have to consider ahead of time. Sure, you can go out and do a 72-hour bug-out trial run and get in your car and go to your location and camp out and make a weekend of it. But you see, that's just a test. If you're going to really test it, you're there, and then you pretend on day 2 that you've run out of everything. You can't use anything, any supplies. You've used them all. Now that's your test. Then what? What do you do? See, I don't think that many people consider that possibility. It's easy for some of these people to, put out videos and talk about this equipment, the gear hogs or the gear heads, or what do they call them, techno weenies or whatever, store-bought preppers, dime store preppers. I don't know, it doesn't matter. The point is that they focus so much on this gear that they forget about what happens if the gear fails. Then what? You can only carry so much ammo. You run out of ammo. Then what? It's serious. It's something that you really have to consider seriously. We laugh. We have a good time here, making these videos, and we kind of joke around at times. But, the election's coming up, and if Obama wins, we might experience some really hard times. They're talking about the economic cliff or the financial cliff, because mathematically we can't pay back our debt. Then what? I mean, sure, you might put away a year or 2 of rice and beans, but what happens come year 3? Then what? So, as you're preparing, as you're making your bags and checking your bags and buying things at the store, you have to think, what if I couldn't do this? Then what? Then what would I do? Because see, that's part of being prepared. It's not just preparing your equipment, but it's preparing your mind. It's preparing a plan. Preparing a philosophy so you can carry on. You can survive. Because anybody can go to the store and take a list and buy everything on the list and say, oh, I'm prepared. Well, yes, for a short period of time you're prepared, but maybe that's all you want to prepare for. Now, I have friends, I think I've mentioned it before, that they would rather just perish than go through the hardships. you know, watching their neighbors die, you know, seeing people being victimized, seeing the town crumble, seeing the sick die off because there's no electricity or there's no medicine. They wouldn't want to go through it. Me, on the other hand, I want to see how it all plays out to the end. How about you? Because if it's playing out, you're going to have answers to the question, then what? And I'd like to hear some of your answers, because some of you guys have some great ideas. I mean, I'm not a know-it-all. I constantly read 72-hour lists for bug-out bags, and read books that come out on prepping, and go to meetings, and take education, because I might just learn something new. And if I don't, it's just good having that refresher. Keeps my mind fresh, keeps these things, you know, at the front, not in the back. Because it's so easy to get caught up in your everyday life, especially if you have a job, and you have a family, and you have hobbies, you have bills to pay. Oh yeah, you prepared. You went to Costco or Walmart and bought the rice and beans, and you went to the Buy-Mart or Walmart and bought some bullets. And you might go out Target practicing, you know, a couple times a year. So you feel like you're prepared, but are you? Because if the stuff hits the fan, then what? And what are you going to do? Especially when your supplies start to run out, or the power doesn't come on for 4, 5, 6 days or more. Water stops running. Then what? It's tough. It's tough to think about. A lot of people don't even want to think about it. They just don't want to think about it. Or they go, oh, it's not going to be that bad. It's not going to happen. You know, the government will take care of me, or somebody else will take care of me, or I'll go find TheRumpledOne. That's what a lot of people think. And some people think, oh, I'll just go shoot somebody and take their stuff. There's going to be all kinds out there. That's for sure. Because society is so fragile. And some people know that better than others. You can read the books and watch the movies, and they kind of make it a little glamorous, kind of make it romantic, almost like, yeah, I hope it happens, because then they get to use all the stuff. But most people, they don't want it to happen. I sure don't. I don't think it'd be that much fun. Thing is, you can see where I'm at. It's really not going to affect me firsthand, because I wouldn't have to go into town. I just have to farm here, hunt here, you know, chop wood, things like that, and defend the place. And hopefully my neighbors around, they'll be defending their places, so chances of somebody getting here would hopefully be slim and none. Just have to see how it plays out. Because if it does, the question you're going to have to ask is, then what? Because, fellow preppers, the election's coming up. And if you fail to prepare today, you might not be able to prepare tomorrow.